The United States began accepting refugees in 1975, with over 3 million entering since then. During the fiscal year of 2017, the United States accepted almost approximately 54,000 refugees, with almost 80% coming from Africa, the Near East, and Southeast Asia. Although the United States has a history of refugee resettlement, we are severely lacking in creating sufficient support networks for them. The government only provides assistance for the first 90 days after a refugee arrives. Once they pass that date, they are on their own. It's important to remember that for many, moving to the United States is a complete culture shock. Aspects of daily life that Americans take for granted are not necessarily common for someone who's entering as a refugee. How to use public transportation or how to navigate a grocery store are two examples of this. Combined with a completely alien and often unwelcoming culture, a potential lack of English comprehension, and it can be very hard for a refugee to adjust. Even if a refugee can speak English, they may still have difficulty adjusting. They might have held a white-collar job in their home country, but find that their university degree, job experience, or professional credentials do not carry over. This is where libraries have the potential to make a difference. While there can be significant barriers, partnering with local resettlement agencies and local community and religious leaders within the refugee community can all help overcome this by learning what services the library can offer. And what works for one group does not necessarily work for all. Services and programs may need to be customized. Think of this in terms of creating social capital and social trust. A refugee may have never used a library or used one only rarely. In many countries refugees come from, libraries are not necessarily available for public use or are seen as a tool of the government that oppress them. A refugee might not want to use the library because they do not know how or have a hard time asking for assistance. Connecting with leaders in the local refugee community can help build trust. Doing outreach at community or religious centers, conducting private group tours of the library and how to use it, and finding out the specific needs of a given community and building programs and services around those needs are examples of how to create social capital. Following through with these programs, utilizing community members who can translate, and making an effort to be active or promote cultural festivals at the library are ways to build social trust. This process will take time because the library will have to convince the refugee community that they will be treated as equals with their needs recognized and supported. This module is not intended to be an in-depth look at meeting the needs of refugees, but rather an introduction to give you ideas of how to approach your local refugee community and make sure you are providing them the best possible support and service. The first two videos I have chosen to look at, what means...